often have you found yourself staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering if you even matter anymore? Rejection emails fill your inbox. The bills haven't stopped because you're struggling. And no matter how hard you push, it feels like the world is telling you that you're irrelevant. You've been discarded. You're done. I want you to hear me right now. If you are looking for a sign to keep going, a sign that someone still cares, this is it. I don't know what brought you here today, but I do know one thing. You are not alone. These are your words, raw, unfiltered, painfully honest. So many of you have shared your stories with me in the comments. Stories of being laid off and scared, of staring at job listings while wondering if it's even worth the energy anymore, of watching your identity, your security, and your confidence completely unravel right in front of you. I've been staring at that same ceiling, choking on that same doubt, and feeling that same crushing weight. Basically feeling powerless. And I want you to know that I see you. I'm right there with you. This community is right there with you. What I want to talk about today isn't just about layoffs and careers. It's for anyone who's faced a moment that changed your path in ways that you didn't expect. A divorce, a diagnosis, a detour that left you questioning everything. This is for anyone who's been knocked off their feet and wondered, what now? The idea of starting over is freaking terrifying. Losing what you've built, who you've been, and staring down the unknown, that's scary as hell. But here's the thing, you've already done it before. The idea of starting over is a lie. You're not erasing your past or hitting some magical reset button. Everything you've ever done, every mistake, every hard lesson, every moment of resilience, that's still with you. And that's your greatest power. Starting over feels overwhelming. Yeah, it feels scary. It feels absolutely excruciatingly hard. But think about this. You're not actually starting over. You're starting differently. You're starting from wisdom. Starting differently is the kind of power that no one can take away from you. Every failure, every wrong turn, those are your weapons now. You're taking everything that you've learned and you're using it to create something new. Starting differently is doable. It's empowering. It's about grabbing the tools that you already have, dusting them off a little bit, and building something that fits your life now. For those of you who don't know me, I was laid off in January 2024, and at this point, I have to face the reality that my 30-year career in tech is probably over. But here's the thing. I've been through worse. I've been through much worse. I've lived with depression and anxiety for years, and I have faced moments that have felt impossible to survive. This pivot that I'm going through here, it's not my first. Reinvention has been a survival skill for me. Whether it's rebuilding after a layoff, navigating mental health struggles, or facing the harsh realities of getting older in a world that glorifies youth, I've learned that starting differently isn't just possible, it's powerful. But before we get into what it really takes to rebuild, let's dig into why change feels so overwhelming, okay? Why does it leave us frozen, questioning everything? And more importantly, how do we move past it? So you have faced impossible life-altering changes before. You have. Your whole life, really. Starting a new school, moving to a new city, changing jobs, surviving a breakup, navigating financial struggles, raising kids, coping with unexpected health challenges. You have adapted through all of this. You have grown. Every single time you have proved that change isn't the end. It's a beginning. Now, it may not be a beginning of awesomeness, but it's a beginning nonetheless. But here's the thing. This all hits a little bit differently now, doesn't it? Because this time, it's not just about adapting to a new situation. It's about reconciling who you are with who you thought you'd be. It's about staring down the expectations you set for yourself decades ago and wondering if you failed. It's about staring down everything that you've lost and trying to believe that there's still something worth reaching for. It's not just the fear of losing a paycheck or a title. It's the fear of losing a part of yourself. The fear that maybe you've already peaked. That maybe this is as good as it gets. But here's the most important thing that you're going to hear all day. You're not starting over. You're starting from experience, and that changes everything. What if, just what if that fear of starting differently isn't rooted in reality, but in a story you've been told, a story that's been designed to keep you stuck, second-guessing yourself, and afraid to move forward? All right, let's talk about the shame. The idea that starting differently means you failed, fell behind, or didn't do life right. That shame, it's a lie. It's that little voice that whispers, you should have figured this out by now, right? Or you're too old to start again. It's a story that we've been handed by a system and a society that thrives on predictability, not possibility. Society has been selling us the same tired story for years. Pick a path at 18, follow it like a robot for 50 years, and don't change. Because nothing says that you're ready to make life-altering decisions while you're still living at home and Googling how to make toast. But you know what? I bought into that story too. For 30 years, I followed the straight path, stable career, consistent promotions, predictable paychecks. But when that path hit a dead end, I realized it wasn't straight. It was in a loop, and I was stuck in it. I was stuck in a version of success that didn't fit me anymore. Now, when you decide to pivot, it does disrupt more than just your own life. Well-meaning people often project their fears onto you because your decision to change forces them to confront their own choices. It's not really about you. It disrupts their sense of normalcy, and your decision to change can feel like a threat to the system that they've been buying into for all these years. Starting differently isn't a failure, it's survival, it's evolution. Starting differently is where growth happens. It's when you stop clinging to what no longer works and start crafting a life that fits you now. It is not about fixing your past. It is about owning your own future. Now let's talk about control, or more accurately, the illusion of control. Because if we're being honest, that's what most of this boils down to. Starting differently makes you confront one of the hardest truths in life. Well, one of my hardest truths in life. You're never really in control. Duh! And as we get older, that loss of control feels bigger, doesn't it? You've spent years building routines, mastering your craft, getting comfortable, then out of nowhere, bam! Life just kicks you in the gut, and suddenly you're flat on your back wondering what the hell just happened. It's true. Starting differently feels harder as we age. The stakes seem higher, and we're hyper aware of what we have to lose. But that doesn't mean that we're less equipped. In fact, we're more equipped. Every year that you've lived, every challenge that you face has sharpened your instincts and filled your toolbox. Experience doesn't make you fragile. It makes you fierce. Rawr. Control is absolutely an illusion. You can't control what life throws at you. Hell, you can't even control whether or not the Wi-Fi stays connected while you're working from home. But you can control how you respond, and that's where the power lies. Starting differently isn't about taking back control. It's about learning to thrive without it. So, if control is an illusion, what's really pulling the strings? That would be fear. Fear has one job: to keep you safe. That's it. It is not here to make you happy, fulfilled, or successful. It is only here to keep your brain alive. The problem is that fear doesn't know the difference between life-threatening danger and life-changing opportunity. It reacts the same way to a bear in the woods as it does to a job interview. It screams, stop, don't, go back, run, flee. And we listen because fear feels powerful. However, fear only has as much power as you give it. Every time you avoid taking a risk, every time you play small, you're feeding it. But fear doesn't stop there. It feeds anxiety too. When fear lingers, it turns into worry. The what ifs start stacking up, and suddenly you're spiraling down a rabbit hole, paralyzed by all the possible outcomes. Fear and anxiety, they're a team, and they keep you stuck. Try to remember that fear isn't like some solid wall that's blocking your way, right? Fear is more like a fog. It looks solid until you start walking through it, right? And every small action that you take, updating your resume, signing up for a class, calling that bill collector, is a way to starve it. The second you step forward and begin starting differently, it begins to clear. Fear can't survive action. Fear's job is to keep you stuck. Your job is to take the next step anyway. Let me be honest. I spent most of my life completely terrified, living in fear. And one of the huge things that scared me was exactly what's happening to me right now. The career I built, it's gone. The money that I thought would always be there, I'm watching it disappear dollar by dollar, and it's terrifying. The identity that I clung to, completely shattered. But here's the thing. Fear didn't protect me from any of it. If anything, it made the fall worse. But you know what? When one of my biggest fears actually happened, I didn't die. The earth didn't stop spinning and the sun still came up the next day. Fear made me feel like it was going to be the end of the world, but it wasn't. And I say this with all sincerity of someone who lives with depression and anxiety and has been scared her entire life. If I could keep going, so can you. Fear doesn't get the last word. You do. So, what's the fear story that you've been telling yourself? And what's one small step that you can take today to start rewriting that fear? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear how you're going to flip the script. At this point, does it feel, though, that like fear isn't the only thing keeping you stuck? Well, good, because it's not. You know what keeps people stuck more than anything? Certainty. We crave it. We worship it. We cling to it like it's the only thing that's keeping us from the chaos. Certainty is like that friend who promises to help you move but then never shows up. They say they'll be there, but in reality, they're nowhere to be found. Nothing in life is truly certain. Not your job, not your relationships, not even your next breath. And the tighter that you hold on to it, the harder it is to move forward. Certainty tricks you into thinking that you're safe, but it's just a pacifier for your fear. Is it comforting? Sure. Is it fixing anything? Nope, not a chance. And then one day you realize that you've become so reliant on it, you can't function without it. Starting differently means spitting out that pacifier and realizing you don't need it. You've got the wisdom and resilience to stand on your own. Fear convinces you that staying stuck is safer than risking failure. But what's the real failure? It's living a life that doesn't even fit you anymore, all because you let fear and comfort sit in the driver's seat. Think about it. How many things do you hold on to in your life just because they're familiar and comfy? The job that you hate? The relationship that's just kind of, whatever. The hobbies that you've outgrown? Or the routine that's comfortable but quietly draining you? Or what about that promotion you didn't go for because you didn't check all the boxes on the job description? Here's the truth. Most people going for that role didn't check all the boxes either. They just didn't let fear stop them from applying. That safe path is a mirage. It doesn't protect you. It robs you. It steals opportunities to leave a toxic job, pursue a passion, or make a bold change. And when fear wins, regret is always waiting to move in. Fear and regret are best buddies, BFFs forever. Fear stops you from taking the leap, and regret shows her ugly mug when you realize what could have been. Regret isn't just scary, it's freaking petty. It'll pop up during like a superbly happy moment in your life and lean over your shoulder and whisper, "Hey, remember that time that you screwed up? I'm just here to remind you of that." Regret is a lot worse than any risk you'll ever take. You're not erasing your story, you're writing that next chapter. And the only thing standing between you and that chapter is the story that you're telling yourself about why you can't do it. So flip the script. Take that step. Stop letting fear have the final word. Your life isn't over, it's just a new beginning. Stop feeding that fear. Starve the regret. And start writing the chapter of your life where you're finally the main character, not some extra waiting to take the stage. Every big change starts as something terrifying. I know, because I've lived it. I'm living it. I'm freaking living it right now. But fear didn't stop me from moving forward, and it won't stop you either. The truth is, you already have the tools to do this. You've been using them your whole life. Starting differently isn't a setback. It's your chance to build something stronger, smarter, and better for the life that you're living now. It's actually proof that you're not stuck. You're evolving. Starting differently isn't a fallback, it's a flex. It's proof that you've grown, learned, and are ready to take your story in a direction that finally feels right. The step itself doesn't matter, right? What matters is that you take it, because every action that you take, no matter how small it is you rewriting that story. And that's how you win. Honestly, you've been rewriting your story all along. This is just the next chapter. So what's at stake? Keep playing small and you'll keep spinning your wheels. Safe isn't living, it's surviving. If you're ready to stop settling and truly move forward, there's this piece of the puzzle waiting for you. And trust me, I think you'll want to watch this one.